and he got UGC Research Award from New Delhi for postdoctoral research. And in 2013, he received Best Paper Award in International Conference at Jaipur, and also received Highly Commended Paper Award in International Conference at Thailand. He also been awarded Researcher in Applied Econometrics by University of Mysore, and is a IUC Associate and IAS Simla during the year 14-16, and he completed ICSSR major project on energy security in rural Karnataka, and presently working on the project Karnataka Tribal Human Development Report funded by Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of Karnataka, India. He also worked for World Resource Institute, WRI, Washington, D.C. on Clean Energy Project. He is also a member of many associations related to economics and cooperation, and is in the board of many appointment boards, BOE, BOS, etc., in the subject economics and cooperation. With this brief, I welcome honorably Professor Prem Kumar sir to this session on behalf of all the participants through online, and also on behalf of the MMTC Center and University of Mysore. Over to Prem Kumar sir. Please, sir. ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ತಗೋಪ್ಪ. ಯಾಕೆ? Dear participants, please wait for a minute. Dear participants, please wait for a minute. Coordinator, course resource person, by mistake or unknowingly logged out from the session, maybe due to some technical snag from his side. You will join the link once again. Okay, let us start. Dear participants, the resource person will be arriving to our center only due to some technical issues at his house. He will be join the link or he'll addressing you in another 5 minutes. Okay. And in the meantime, I would like to tell you one thing that so far you have not shared the link to upload the micro teaching recording part, you know? Not yet.
Yes, sir.
Shared. Okay. It was underway. Maybe today or tomorrow we will share the link. Please get it ready to upload the information. Okay. Once we share the link, immediately you please, anyhow, I will announce the same and the same will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Immediately you upload that. The remaining part I will take care of that. Okay. One thing.
Okay.
Second thing is regarding assignment, you already given the topics. You will make groups. Okay. During third week, we will announce separately and share the same thing through WhatsApp group. Accordingly, you're supposed to present the seminar, either as you mentioned in the link, either through oral method or through PPT presentation, you can present the seminar for a duration of 10 minutes. For that, we will invite the expert or evaluator or moderator. Okay, that can be done in the third week. And after the completion of today's morning sessions by Prem Kumar sir, in the afternoon, I will share one information. That's nothing but the format, UGC format. It's a research project proposal format. I will share that. You please go through that format. You fill that format. It will take a shape of a research project proposal of about 5-6 pages, not more than that, I think. Okay. That you have to upload again. Okay. For that, you will share one more link. Through that link, you can upload the research project proposal. Because I supposed to submit those research project proposal to one of the expert in the campus, and he is supposed to come over here and address you. And by that time, he will give you the information about the project proposals and also project proposals also. Now you will get in these 2 sessions, today's morning session, you will get the information. What is research methodology, how to write the research project proposal, and what are the funding agencies, like so and so. That information will be given by Prem Kumar sir. But the research project proposal, what you have submitted, that will be given to another expert. He will go through your research project proposals. Okay. Then he will come over here and address you. By that time, he will give you the information. What are the strengths of your research project proposals and weakness? How do you submit the proposals? What are the other processes, so on and so on. So, okay, that will be a full thing. Again, it's an attempt. Everything is attempt here. Okay. Micro teaching evaluation is an attempt. It's not the ultimate thing. Similarly, the research project proposal evaluation, that's an attempt. It was not submitted to any research project funding agencies like DBT, DST, so on so. It's an attempt done by you, and the corrections will be made by the expert. That way, you will be helpful, because only through teaching, you should not get your promotions in future. Because of new guidelines of UGC, you should not expect your, even, for example, whether you able to become associate professor without PhD. Yes or no?
No, sir.
Not
No.
possible.
Without PhD, you cannot become associate professor. That was the recent guidelines that has been included in the UGC guidelines. Earlier, it was not like that. Without PhD, you became associate professor, everything. But now, there will be a restriction. Without PhD, you should not become associate professor. Like that, in future, the restrictions will be more and more. So, you're supposed to involve in research area. Of course, your fundamental duty is to do teaching. That's I agree. But only with teaching, you cannot able to get your promotion also. Is it? Because you should not gain the points only through teaching. That's why research is also an important thing. That's the reason why we include or do this circus in each and every program. Submission of the research project proposal, evaluation of the same thing. If it is a offline mode program, it will be more effective, of course. But being online, anyhow, we'll do the same thing in the online program also. It's because of your, it's for the benefit of you people only.
Sir, good morning.
Yes. Suraj.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, when will we get the timetable for this week and the coming week?
Up to 5 o'clock, we have first week timetable. It's going up. Yeah. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, we want who is the next resource person and all. No. Okay. Today afternoon, you will see. It's ready. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And sir, one more thing, sir. From which department you belong to, sir? I
belong to the department of sericulture. Sericulture, silk production.
Acha, okay. Acha,
Saree.
okay. Acha.
Then you can remember. Silk saree mein you remember. Okay.
Ah.
Sericulture.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And sir, what is your name, sir? I forgot your name, sir.
Dr. Ranjana Swami.
Ranjana Swami. Okay, thank you.
You are from which state?
West Bengal. West Bengal, sir.
Okay. Nanjunda Swami. It is difficult for you to pronounce, I think. Okay. Nanjunda
Okay,
Swami.
sir.
It's nothing but
Acha.
Ishwar.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I belong to Department of Sericulture. And in 2003, I joined this center. In fact, I did my master's in 92 in sericulture and PhD in 98. In between 95 KSET. Then I got appointment over here in this center. By that time, it was called by the name Academic Staff College.
Academic staff.
Academic Staff College. In 2003, I joined here. Of course, this nomenclature has been changed in 2012 as Human Resource Development Center. Again, in 23, this nomenclature has been changed to Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center. Since 2003, I am working here. Okay, I have already completed some 23 years of experience here. But I am not a good teacher like you people.
No, sir. I wanted a
teaching.
session with you also.
I don't have opportunity to teach like you people. Okay. Though I am a teaching staff here, my duty is to organize all these programs. Is it?
Okay.
Because of that reason, I don't have the opportunity to teach.
Teach.
That's
You are
why
always
I'm
busy.
a good teacher.
Here.
I'm not a teacher, best teacher like you people. But I'm also a teacher. Okay. I will support you. That's all.
We consider you as a teacher only, sir, now.
Yeah, I'm also a teacher. Yes. I have been appointed over here as assistant professor. I'm a teacher, but I don't have the opportunity to teach.
Yes.
Because I left the Department of Sericulture in 2003 and joined over here. It's like administration come training type of duty here. That's why I don't no opportunity for research here. No teaching opportunity for me here. Okay. It's my duty is to conduct the training programs, that's all. Or support the refresher courses conducted by coordinators. I will be acting as a moderator by that time. Okay. You are the
Sir,
facilitators.
offline program is also running, sir.
What madam?
Offline program is running, sir, right now.
From next month we have offline program, that is the same program, FIP offline. Yours is FIP online. We are planning next month for FIP offline. Only thing we are waiting for the good number of participants. Once we receive good number of participants, we will finalize that, and most probably we are going to conduct that program next month. And we have one more program, that is refresher course in Kannada next month. Okay, like that every year we conduct some 20-25 programs.
So refresher courses will be in the particular subject, sir.
You can have the opportunity to attend the same program, particular subject program, or you can go for interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary programs also.
Okay. So,
for example, refresher course in political science, you can attend the program directly, or refresher course in human rights. In that category, they include political science, law, sociology, social work, so on. You have both individual subject refresher course or interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary refresher course. For example, English. Instead of English, you can attend one more program by name refresher course in Indian languages or Indian literature. In that program, they include English, all other Indian languages. Okay. Both are equally beneficial for you people for your promotion purpose. Anyhow,
So when will you give the assignment?
What, madam?
When will you give the assignment? We have to write and submit, right, sir?
What assignment?
Assignment in the sense it's seminar only, I think.
Seminar. No submission. There is no submission as far as the seminar is concerned. Only you have to present your seminar. For that, you have to prepare on your own. No question of submission from your side. Okay. Only submission is only related to research project proposal is concerned.
Okay.
Okay. Today afternoon, I will share the information. Format. You can go through that. Then that you have to upload. For that, I will provide you time. I will provide you 1 week time. Then you submit. Next, today is Tuesday. Okay,
Yes.
next Monday you submit. Okay, today afternoon I will share the format.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, when we have to submit the micro teaching recording, sir?
Madam, regarding that, they are preparing the link. Okay, that will take little time. Okay.
Yes.
Yesterday evening, we are expecting yesterday evening. That's the reason why yesterday morning I told you today by evening you will upload the link. You please
Yes, sir.
upload the recording part by tomorrow. I mean today by evening. But not yet. They have not yet shared the link.
Okay, sir.
That's underway. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Being a first program of this academic year, we are preparing newly. Okay. Every year you have to give the. This time, the earlier person has been changed. One who supply all the facilities and all, to conduct the online programs. That person has been changed now. Okay. For him, it's a new thing. It will take some little more time. No problem. It's a
Okay, sir.
4 weeks or 5 weeks duration program. Let me take it. No problem. It's not a question. It's not a problem, I think. Instead of today, maybe tomorrow I will prepare. And tomorrow, if I share the information through WhatsApp group, you please upload day after tomorrow. That's all. Because your micro teaching evaluation will be on 25th. At least within 16th, 17th, if you submit, no problem. 16th, today is 16th, 17th, 18th, submit. Resource person need some 3-4 days to evaluate you people because your number is more. You are now 68. You have to go through all the 68 presentations. A few people of 3 minutes each. 3 minutes into 68 person. Okay, same thing you will present in front of you now. On that day, you will present the same thing of your presentations. Then you will interact with you. Hello, Pramana. ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನಾನು ಪುನಃ ನಿಮ್ Any other queries? In another 2 minutes, you will join the link. Okay.
Sir, afternoon session will be there, no, sir?
Today?
Today.
Today or tomorrow? What? Today's afternoon session.
Sir, at least once a week, please give a break, sir, because all time.
You already taken 2 days break. Day before yesterday, you have taken 2 days break, Saturday and Sunday. And next week, you will take 3 days break. 26th,
Okay.
27th, 28th, 3 days.
That's fine, sir.
That's the reason why instead of 4 weeks, your program will be up to 5 weeks. A total of some 31 days, I think. 30 or 31 days. It is actually 24 working days. Is it?
Yes, sir.
ಸಾಕು ರಜಾಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. Earlier, we also work on second Saturdays and Sundays, even festival holidays. Only on Sunday, you will declare the holiday. Now, it's not like that. All the holidays will be declared as holiday. That's the reason why the number of days goes like this.
Yes.
ರಜಾಗಳು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ?
Sir, Raja antalla, from morning to evening, continuously we have to sit and listen.
ಗಂಟೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? 10 to 11:15 ಮತ್ತೆ half an hour break. Relax.
Half an hour ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್, ಮತ್ತೆ I have to sit back that time.
ಅದಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಬಟ್ UGC ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ನಾವು, ಬೇರೆ ದಾರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ.
No problem, sir, we can manage.
ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 1.5 hour ಇರೋ ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ 1 hour 15 minutes ಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. 15 minutes ನೀಚ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ವಿ ಕಟ್. 1.25 ಗಂಟೆ ಇದೆ ಇವಾಗ ಸೆಷನ್. ಮೊದಲು 1.5 ಗಂಟೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಹೆಂಗಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. at least whole day 1 hour cut ಆಯ್ತು ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ 15 minutes each. Okay.
ಬಟ್ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಲಕ್ಕಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನು ಬೋರ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಿ
ಬೋರ್
ಕ್ಯಾನ್
ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೋರ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ಸ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೇಮ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. If you belong to same subject, in case of a refresher course, only Kannada, only English people are sitting there. They listen to the lectures of repeated same topics, no? But here it's not like that. Every day, every session, you will get different topics. Not belong to your subject. That's why it's very much interested for you people. And of course, the syllabus will be according to the Pandit Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center's syllabus. It is called by the name Guru Dakshta. You please go to the UGC website, wherein which you will get the syllabus of this program, FIP program. Guru Dakshta. In that we have some 10 modules. In each and but you cannot able to cover all the things in that syllabus. It will take some 3-4 months to cover all thing. But for this 4 weeks duration, we will select few topics, okay, in that, and we will try to cover maximum possible. Because these activities are already added. This micro teaching evaluation, okay, it was not there in the syllabus, but we add in each and every program. It's very interesting activity. Okay. Yes, sir.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
And one more thing, instead of 11:15, you can take the break today for this session at 11:30. Then join the link at 11:45 so that you can manage
No
the time.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಈಗ ಬನ್ನಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಬರೋಣಕ್ಕ ಬನ್ನಿ ಇದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ನಾನು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ
ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೋಡ್ ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸಾಕು ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
Good morning, friends.
ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience. It was
Very good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್.
Good morning. Today I am going to speak on writing research methodology, and then writing research proposal, and also some of the important funding agencies which are readily available for our supporting our research. work or the research project or fellowship, something like that. So there are three parts in this presentation. First part I talk about, along with research methodology, I will talk about the outline of writing the research project proposal, outline of the writing the research proposal. What are the important points needs to be understand before writing a research proposal. So without having the knowledge of research methodology, it is difficult to write the research proposal. So that we should know what are all the important things needs to be understand, need to be known to write a research project proposal. That's first part. Second part, some of the important steps needs to be followed while writing the research project proposal. And the third part will be the funding agencies. And the funding agencies within India and abroad, including Fulbright Fellowship. So these are the three parts. As our Nanjunda sir has told me, Nanjunda sir has told me, I will stop at 11:30, and then there is a 15 minutes break, and again we will rejoin at 11:45, and we will end by 1 p.m. Friends, for writing any research project proposal, yes. So you have to be very keen about what are all the things are important to be understood. So we need to be very careful about the title, and we should know how to write the title, and we should know how to write the abstract. And very, very important, we need to give the keywords. So how to give the keywords? What are the important issues in writing keywords? Why should we write the keywords? And then how to write the introduction to the project proposal and review of literature. It should be very brief, and how to write the review of literature for the project proposal, and then methodology, and then results and interpretation, how to write the results, how to obtain the results, and how to write the interpretation along with the discussion, and then conclusion, how to give the reference, tables, graphs. These are all the most important things we should know while writing the research project proposal. Okay, let us discuss about how should be a title. So when we write the title, it should be catchy. Once reading the title, there should be 50% of chance that we should get the funding or the grant. Our project proposal should be accepted just by reading the title. That should be the kind of title you need to write. While writing the research title or project proposal title, how you have to write? If you are belongs to science, please write implicitly, you give your title. If you belongs to social sciences along with management, commerce, then you have to write the research project proposal title explicitly. Explicitly meaning just by reading the title, the funding agency should understand what the research is going to be done. So therefore explicit, it explains the inner meaning of the project proposal. Whereas the implicit one, that will never disclose the intensity of the research or the insight of the research. So it is implicit. Even for the literature, people can go with this kind of the implicit titles. And what should represent in the title? So there should be issues and subject matter. So when you write the title, it should reflect what issues that you are going to examine, and what is the central subject matter of the research project. That should be. And you should know what to include, what not to be included. So like when you write a lengthy research title, that is not right. If you write very short, that is also not right. So therefore, while you're writing the research title, there should be three important things. One is the subject, the second one is the focus, and the third one is the scope. Subject, focus, and then scope. Focus and then scope. Subject, what subject that what issues that you are going to talk about. For example, so here we have given one title, example of the title, Techno-Efficient Green and Clean Energy for Sustainable Development in selected countries of Asia, empirical estimation. So there are three parts here. First one is subject, techno-efficient green and clean energy. This is the subject matter. Focus for what? It is for sustainable development. That is the focus. You are not simply using the energy. You are using the energy for sustainable development. So that is the focus. What is the scope? In selected countries of Asia. In selected countries of Asia. This is how a title should reflect three important things. Any funding agency will look into these three things. So what is the subject, what is the focus, and what is the scope of the project? So you keep in mind while writing the title. And title may have a single title or maybe two titles. One is the main title, another one is the subtitle. So like here also you can see there are two parts. After colon, there is an empirical estimation. So here the main objective of this paper is to estimate the impact of clean energy for sustainable development. How could a techno-efficient green and clean energy will contribute for sustainable development? So that will be estimated in this research article. So like that, you can have a single title or you can have a subtitle also, title, subtitle. So you can have. So like that, while writing your title, you should not use comma, full stop, semicolon. Sometimes colon is allowed, not the semicolon, and slash, question mark. Why should we question our own research project? So there should not be question. These things should not be used while writing your research title. Okay, let us come to the writing the abstract. So the abstract is nothing but gist of your article, gist of your paper, gist of your research proposal, and the proposed work like that. It should be a gist. It should be a gist. What things should be reflect in your abstract? So sometimes while you writing the abstract for a conference, it's different. While writing a paper, abstract is different. While writing a abstract for a proposal, it is entirely different. So here the major thrust should be given to what are the major thrust of the study. So trust here, the most important thing, you should actually write in the abstract 1 or 2 lines in the abstract. It should not be more than a half a page. It should not be more than a half a page. Abstract, it is the gist of your work, the proposed work or the completed work. It may be both. It may be proposed work or it may be completed work. Okay, if it is a completed work, so what you have already completed in your research, that should be reflected in your abstract. If it is a proposed work, how you are planning to complete this work or execute this work, so that should be reflected in the abstracts. So the major test of the study, data and methodology used, what data you are using, whether you are using primary data, secondary data, nominal data, cross-section data, time series data, what data that you are using, what methodology. Very briefly write. In just 1 or 2 lines, you have to write the methodology, data and methodology techniques used, and if you are developed some unique models, something like ANCOVA model, ANOVA model, time series model, if you have developed any model, so explain that in the project, the proposal, we are planning to use these kind of the models, these kind of the data, these are the methodology that you are going to adapt. So very safe manner, you have to write the data, methodology, techniques, and everything. And major outcomes are the findings of the study. So what the outcomes that you are expecting. If it is a completed work, you write what you have already identified. If you are proposing, what you are expecting. What you are expecting. So that possible suggestions you may give, that also given in the abstract. Okay. ಬಂತಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಮನೇಲಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟ ಓಕೆ ಇವತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡ್ಬಾರ ಬರ್ದೈತಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್
ಬಂತು yeah sorry friends, I don't know why it's happening. Yesterday it was new moon day, but today we are facing the problem. Okay. Okay, and then giving keywords. Keywords should reflect three important things: what issues that you are examining in your research, and what is the subject matter. If you are using any concepts, you can also give that concepts. For example, sustainable development, energy efficiency, techno-efficient energy, clean energy, green energy, like that. Why you should give the keywords? The keywords will help you to identify your work in the when you search in the websites. So therefore, the keyword should be very attractive and should be most frequently used words. Should be most frequently used words. Then let us come to how to write the introduction. So while writing the introduction, first and foremost, you should emphasize the importance of the subject matter. So, okay, you take any subject, whether it may be agriculture, it may be industry, it may be service sector, it may be health sector, infrastructure, or it may be education. You write in such a way that what is the importance of that subject in contemporary period? Okay, what is the relevance of that subject today? So, for example, if you're talking about the education, how do the artificial intelligence is supporting or not supporting your learning process or your teaching process, how it is helping the education system, how it is harming the education system. So you write, whatever you write, subject matter, that should be contemporary. And then in any subject, there is a status. For example, if you're talking about the education, what was the literacy in 1950? What was literacy in 1990? What is the literacy today? So that feedback you have to give. The status of the subject matter has to be given. If you're talking about the food security, what is the food production during the independence? What was the food production during 1970s, 90s, 2000? And today, what is the food production? This is more than 300 million tons of food grains that we are producing today. But at the time of independence, you are hardly producing only 27 million tons of food grains. So the march from 1950 to 2025-26, it's a long history. That history has to be reflected, but very briefly you have to write. And then you have to bring in the issues in that topic, the selected topic, whatever the topic you have selected. In that topic, what are the issues? Okay, issues in the sense, okay, food is available. Whether the food security is ensured to all the people of India? No. Still there are people struggling for their food. That's why we're having PDS system. For everybody, it is not possible to obtain the nutritious diet. Am I right? So it is difficult to have the nutritious food for the largest section of the people, even in this today, in this contemporary world, in this even in 2025-26, the many people are facing the problem of food, nutritious food. We may get the food, but what about the nutritious diet? So that is how we have to bring in the issues in that topic. Just you're simply talking about the food security, but food security for the nation is met. Whether the food security for the people, individual people, is that met? That has to be bring in. What is the purchasing capacity of these people? The poorer section, marginal people. So that has to be highlighted. Okay, that is the issue. And you have to implicitly state the objectives and hypothesis. So it is left to you. Some subjects, they expect write the objectives and hypotheses separately. But in some subject, they expect implicitly you need to write the objectives and hypotheses. So at the end of the introduction, you have to write what is the main objective. So given the background, you have your introduction. Given the background, the present research work is going to examine so and so, write your objective. And then the study will also prove so and so. That is your hypothesis, right? So this is how implicitly you have to write the objectives of your study and hypothesis of your study implicitly. If the funding agency expects you to write explicitly the objectives and hypothesis, then you separately, after the introduction, after the review of literature, you write your objectives and hypothesis. Okay, this is the format. Whenever you write any research project, this is the format. First, the title, and then abstract, and then keywords, and then introduction, and then review of literature, and then research gap, statement of the problem, objectives, hypothesis, methodology, and how do you present your research work. That is the planning of your research work. So that's in chapter scheme. So that is the format. So therefore, after research gap, you can explicitly write the objectives and hypothesis. Either way you can write. If the funding agency expects you to write implicitly the objectives, then you write at the end of the introduction. Otherwise, separately you can write the objectives and hypothesis. And then rationale and need for the present study. Okay, there are plenty of studies are going on. So there are many institutions, many individuals, government are conducting the research work. Why your study is important? That has to be right. Why this study has to be supported? That has to be right. So then you have to come. So what are the implications? What are the applications of your study? So even in the introduction, you should write why your study has to be supported, why your study is important. Okay, there are many studies, why your study is important, that has to be right. So then what you have to do? So this is how my study is lot of applications, lot of implications for the society. So therefore, this research work needs to be supported. So this is how you write your introduction. Just for example, friends, let me tell you frankly, any of the funding agency will not completely read your entire proposal. So that will go through the introduction, the last part of your methodology of your research project. So only these are some of the things they will look into that. So they will not read entirely your review of literature. They will not entirely read the history of your research subject matter. So they simply read the introduction and the research methodology, objectives and hypotheses. So therefore, introduction should be very, very attractive. Write 10 times, rewrite. And while writing, don't forget to give the references. If you write any single line, at the end of that line, sentence, you have to give the reference. Giving reference is very, very, very important. So where from you understand that? Where from you writing that sentence? There should be some source for that, you know. So therefore, you have to give the reference for each and every sentence you write. Okay. And then review of literature. Most of you already know how to write the review of literatures. And particularly, even if it is for your PhD work, then extensively you write the review of literature. But when it comes to writing a review of literature for a research project proposal, it should be very brief. It should be very brief. If you have referred more than 30, 40, 50 articles, you have to bring in all those articles, everything into 1.5 page. You write like an argumentative. You write like an argumentative. For example, so if you talk about the food security, or if you talk about health, so when was the food security, the word coined? When was the problem? When was the subject first started doing research? So when was the first research started on the food security? When was the first research started on the health? When was the first research was started in women empowerment or human development? So when was the first study? So if you're talking about for example, human capital, if you talk about the human capital, the first study of that kind was started with Gary Becker in 1949. So that has to be mentioned. When was the first study started on human capital formation? So women empowerment, so it was during 1970s. So when it was started first, food security, so it was 1970s again, food security, right? Human development, 1990. Women empowerment, 1995. So this is how we have to write the first research work, and then how the research has been evolved and examined the issues, the data used, methodology adopted, techniques used. So these are the important things. So while writing the review of literature, so what are the issues analyzed in the previous research works? So what type of the data they have used, whether they have used primary data, secondary data, time series data, ratio scale data, nominal data. So what data they have used, that has to be reviewed in your review of literature. And what methodology they have used, adapted, descriptive methodology, analytical methodology, inductive methodology, deductive methodology, econometric methodology, what methodology they have adopted, that has to be mentioned in your review of literatures. So what techniques are used, so whether they have used simple mean, median, mode, standard deviation, or t-test, f-test, or used econometric models like simple regression, multiple regression, ANOVA, ANCOVA, ARCH-GARCH, what techniques they have used. So that has to be written. So while writing, you should keep in mind, if they have studied all these issues, what issues are left? If they have used data like this, like this, what data that you are going to use? If they have adopted this methodology, what methodology that you are going to adapt? So what is the improvement in that methodology? That is also very, very important. What improvement that you are going to adapt in your research project apart from the methodology that the previous works have been adopted? So there should be a new, there should be an improvement in the methodology. If the techniques are already used, why are you using the same techniques? If you are using the same techniques, in what approach that you are using that techniques? So that has to be right. And at the end of the review of literature, you have to be concentrate agreements in findings and arguments. What are the similar works and what are not similar work? So the works which accepts, for example, food security ensures human development. So there's a positive relationship between food security and human development, right? So what are these kind of works which accepts? So no, food security will not help for the human development. Contradictory, disagreements. What are all the disagreements? What are all the agreements? So we have to write both. What are all the agreements? What are all the disagreements in findings and arguments? So this is how you have to write the review of literatures. Meaning, what issues have been analyzed in the previous work, methodology, data, techniques, agreements, disagreements. You have to keep in mind while writing the review of literatures. But it should not be individual review of literature. It should be collective, argumentative review of literature. It should be collective, argumentative review of literature. You should not write Prem Kumar in this research work so and so, so and so. Don't write like that. You're right. So there's a positive relationship between food security and human development. Who has said that? Who proved that? Prem Kumar GS. The human development always comes along with health and education. Who said this? Give in bracket the reference. So this is how you have to write argumentatively the review of literature. Okay, once you complete the review of literatures, so what are the helps from the review of literatures? So that will lead to identify what has done and what has not done. Already I told, if they have analyzed issues, what issues analyzed, what issues not analyzed. Okay, and that will be, it will be able to identify research gap, to state out the gaps and what present work is going to do. Okay, there are many research gaps. Once you have completed the review of literatures, there may be 8 to 10 issues are left without examined by the previous work. There may be 8, 9 research gaps. So out of 8, 9 research gaps, are you able to examine all the 10 research gaps? No, it is not possible. Then what you have to do? You have to select 1 or 2 important, relevant, contemporary research gaps for your present work. Okay, there are many research gaps. Out of many, you select 1 or 2 important issues for your present research work. Okay, once again, let me come back to the methodology. As I already mentioned, methodology is the most important part in writing the research proposal, because already I had mentioned, they will not read your entire research proposal. They read your introduction, objectives, and your methodology. So methodology has to be very, very, very updated one, because the methodology will give you the strength, what quality research work that you are going to conduct. Methodology itself explains the quality of your research work. So therefore, your methodology should be updated. So you can follow descriptive, analytical, inductive, deductive, econometric methodology, but you can use all together also. There is no restriction. I use only descriptive. I don't use analytical. I use only analytical. I am not using descriptive. You need both. You need both descriptive as well as analytical. But you have to be very careful what for you are using descriptive and what for you are using analytical. If you want to explain or describe the subject matter or the issues, if you want to simply present or describe the subject matter, then you use descriptive techniques like mean, median, mode, standard deviation, correlation, simple regression, even index number. We can use all these things. If you want to argue some subjects, some issues, if you want to argue, make the arguments, then you have to take the support of analytical. Analytical represented by 2 things. One is your statistical inferential statistics, and the second one is econometrics. So both are argumentative support giving things. So your inferential statistics like your t-test, f-test, chi-square test, your ANOVA, mean test, paired mean test. So they are all statistical techniques. So your multiple regression, ANOVA, ANCOVA, ARCH, GARCH, co-integration, these are all econometric techniques. You can use combinations of these techniques. So if you use higher order techniques, for example, if you are using co-integration techniques, if you are using ARDL model, if you belongs to economics and management, commerce, you can use co-integration ARDL model, auto-regressive distributed log model. You can use. If you use that kind of the model, the research funding agency definitely will consider your project, because so that they think the researcher is capable of using ARDL model, so that he will give the quality output. If you are using what you call a system analysis model, structural equation models, so which explains the whole system. So structural equation modeling, again, a topmost techniques. Unrestricted model, it's an unrestricted model. So it's a structural equation modeling, also very, very the utmost advanced technique. If you are using that kind of techniques, definitely the research funding agency will be happy for funding you. So therefore, you can use combination of methodologies like descriptive, analytical, econometric models, or you can inductive, deductive, they are in the process. Are you going from principle to examples or example to principle? That is inductive, deductive methodology. But basically, it is descriptive, analytical, and econometric. Okay, data. You should be aware of what data that you are using. Basically, any techniques is determined based on the type of data which is on the scale. The data, nominal, whether it is nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio scale. In what scale the data is available. Based on, if your data is nominal, your techniques are different. I will show you, next slide I will show you. If your data is ordinal, your techniques are different. If your data is interval or ratio scale, your techniques are different. So like that, if you are using econometrics, if your data is in time series, techniques are different. So if your data is time series, definitely it will start with stationarity. Stationary data, non-stationary data, identification of stationary, use of ADF method, augmented Dickey-Fuller method, or Philip-Perron method, or you can go with, if the data is found stationary, you can go with simple OLS methodology. If your data is non-stationary, go with the co-integration analysis or some analysis meant for that. So like that. If your data is cross-section, your techniques are different. You have to verify the problems of the models like autocorrelation, heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity problems. So if your data is cross-section, if your data is pooled data, then you have to think about whether shall I go with the random model or the fixed effect model. So like that, for everything, there is some scope and restriction. If your data is time series, there is some restriction and there is some scope. If your data is cross-section, there are some restrictions and there are some scopes. Like that, if your data is pooled, shall I go with the fixed effect model or the random effect model? So like that, each and every form of data has their own restriction and own scope. And you can use both secondary data and the primary data, origin of the data. If you're using secondary data, so you have to mention the source for the data, where from you have taken data. For example, let me give you food production. Where will you get the data? Generally, we go with economic survey or we go with Reserve Bank of India, right? Generally, we go with like that. So we go with economic survey or we go with Reserve Bank of India for the food production. But that's not, I'm not telling it's not the right way. But what I'm trying to tell you, Reserve Bank of India or the economic survey are not the real owner of data. The real owner of data is the Ministry of Agriculture. So therefore, Ministry of Agriculture provide the data to economic survey as well as the Reserve Bank of India. So therefore, you should not mention Reserve Bank of India. You should mention the Ministry of Agriculture, because originally the data is given by the Ministry of Agriculture. So therefore, the original owner of the data has to be mentioned. And you also mentioned the period and place. for what you are taking, for whether you're taking the data for India, or you're taking the data for Karnataka, or Tamil Nadu, Andhra, or Uttar Pradesh, for what place you are taking. And what is the period of data? For the period, there should be some genuine reason for taking that particular period. Simply you are taking from 2000 to 2025. Why it is starting point is 2000? Why not it is 1999? You select any year, but there should be a reason for selection of that year. There should be reason for selection of that particular year, right? So therefore, you give some reason. For example, if you take 1991, because reforms have started, economic reforms have started from 1991. So therefore, you are choosing 1991 as the starting point of your data. Okay, if you are selecting 2004-5, okay, there should be a reason. So there is a new generation reform started in 2004-5. So that's why I have taken 2004-5. So if you are taking 2011-12, then you have to state the new shift in the base period was started in 2011-12. That's why I'm using 2011-12 as the starting point for a data period. Right. So like that, you have to mention the period and the reason for selection of that period and place. Then if you're using techniques, already I have mentioned, the most of the techniques are based on the scale of the data. Whether your data is nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, scale, based on that only, whether you're using parametric techniques, non-parametric techniques. If your data is nominal, you are using non-parametric techniques. If your data is ratio scale, you are using parametric techniques. Very simple. If your data is nominal, you are using non-parametric techniques because nominal data cannot be measured. The ratio scale data is completely measured. So when it is completely measured, you can go with parametric. Metric means measuring, you know. So therefore, you're going, if your data is interval or ratio scale, you go with parametric techniques. If your data is nominal, then you go with non-parametric techniques. And if you have developed any specific models or developed any specific equations, so please specify that model. So how you have developed that model, how we have developed that equation, how we have developed that estimation method, or if you have improved that estimation method. For example, somebody has already used that equation or the procedure of estimation. What improvement you have brought in to that model or the equation or the methodology or the procedure of estimations, that you have to mention. Okay, as I have already mentioned, there are two important ways of analyzing your data. One is descriptive analysis. The second one is analytical analysis. I have already mentioned the descriptive analysis presents status of phenomena, the subject. So what is what? So the descriptive analysis helps you to explain or describe what is what. So by using mean, deviation, correlation, index method, you can describe the subject matter or you can describe the status of the phenomena. If you want to give tested proof for your arguments, then go with analytical analysis. As I already mentioned, there are two important parts in this analytical analysis. One is inferential statistics, another one is econometric applications. So under the inferential statistics, you can explain relations, impact, process, association, and distributions. For these things only, you are using the inferential statistics. If you want to build a model and explain the phenomena, then you go with econometric analysis. So econometrics has its own methodology, procedure, techniques. If you know econometrics, better you always go with econometric modeling. Explain the subject or the issues or the problems through the econometric model. You construct a model which represents the reality, and you explain the reality through the model. So this is what econometrics does. Okay, as I already mentioned, the most important things in selection of the techniques, the most important things needs to be remembered while using the techniques. You should know at what level that you are analyzing. Are you analyzing the subject at the descriptive level or the analytical level? That is the two levels. And then what type of data you are using. Are you using nominal data, ordinal data, interval or ratio scale? Both are the same. Interval we will convert into ratio. If it is the split data, we convert that into ratio scale data. That's why I put it together. So interval bar ratio scale data. Look at here, if your data is interval or scale data, then at descriptive level, you can use mean, standard deviation. If you are doing the analysis at analytical analysis, then you can go with inferential statistics by conducting t-test, z-test, like that. If your data is nominal, you can go with mode, relative and absolute frequency, or at inferential level, you can use chi-square test. So this test particularly, it is the goodness of fit test, chi-square goodness of fit test. So like this, if you are using only one variable, when you are using only a single variable, you can follow this design. If you are using two variables, if you are using at a time, you are using two variables. For example, income and investment, or saving and investment, production and export. If you are using two variables, then you can follow this procedure. Again, if you are using two nominal variables like opinion and gender, place and opinion, so two nominal variables, like that two ratio scale variables, like already I mentioned, income and export, income and investment, investment and production. So these are all the ratio scales. So you can measure the income, you can measure the export, you can measure the output. So that is ratio scale. So if you are using two variables, then at descriptive level, you can go with a simple correlation, linear correlation, and a simple regression method. That is descriptive. If you want to prove that relation and impact, so because the regression, it's always explains or help you to explain the impact of one variable on another variable. So how do the rainfall influence the production, agricultural production? How do the income influence the consumption behavior? How do the investment influence the production? How do the export influence the efficiency of the currency or any currency, Indian currency or any currency? How do a gender matters while taking the decision on the right hand side? So this is how we can explain the impact of one variable on another variable using the simple regression. But at the same time, it is only just you are explaining this influenced this. But what is the guarantee? If you want to prove that relations, you have to use the tested proofs. You have to give the tested proof. Like whether your coefficient, the regression coefficient is acceptable or not, that you need to prove. So these are all the small things needs to be understand and specific. And you write while writing your research proposal, you have to explain. The study will explain the impact of this by using this kind of the inferential statistics. Okay, while testing the individual coefficient, I use t-test. While testing the overall independent variables, I use f-test. If I am explaining the model, I use R square. If I am using more than one independent variable, again I use R bar square. You have to be mentioned. So if there are multicollinearity problem, the problem will be solved like this. If there are time series autocorrelation problem, the first difference will be taken. So, or the data will be formulated, transferred to some other format. So, small explanation will help you to select your project. There may be small things, but that will help you. How you are writing, how you are using the techniques, that's also very, very important. And the two nominal variables, inferential techniques like chi-square again, but this chi-square is different from the previous one. The previous one is goodness of fit, whereas this one is association test, whether the opinions are associated with their gender. For example, I'm giving this lecture. I take your opinion, whether I have been reached you or not. So then you will tell, so yes, sir, he reached, sir, not reached, sir, somewhat reached, sir. Okay. So whom I have reached? Am I reached only the male, only the female, or both? So this is how the chi-square association test can be used to explain the association, whether the opinions are associated with their gender, their discipline, their subjects, or the reason, like that. Okay, if you are using more than 2 variables, if you are using 3 variables, 5 variables, 8 variables, 20 variables, if you are using 20 variables, then you have to use only structural equation modeling. If you are using 20 variables at a time, then you have to use only structural equation modeling, right? So this is called multivariate analysis. If you are using more than 2 variables, this is called multivariate analysis. There are 2 ways of using the multivariate analysis. One is dependence analysis. Another one is interdependence analysis. Dependence analysis I have already explained. The one variable is depending on another variable. Dependence analysis. One variable, for example, your consumption is depending on your income as well as the price of the commodity and taste and preferences. Okay, it is depending on 3 important variables. Okay, like that. The food production depending upon the technology that you are used, the acres that you are cultivating, the investment you have made for the agriculture, the fertilizers that you have used, and water that you have used, everything matters. So the agriculture production not only depending upon the size of the land, it is also depending upon many more things. Size of the land, the method of cultivation, the fertilizers used, pesticides used, the seeds used, water used. There are many things. It depends on many things, right? So like that, the one dependent variable is depending upon many independent variables. So if you want to know the impact of all these independent variables on this dependent variable, we use dependent analysis multivariate techniques. Okay, so examples: multiple regression, MANOVA, canonical correlations, and many things. ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, UNCOVA, UNMANCOVA. There are plenty of techniques readily available. Even Arch model, Garch model. The plenty of models are readily available. Even co-integration, Johnson co-integration, ARDL model. So Garch model, H-Garch, G-Garch. There are many techniques which are readily available. You can adapt them, use them, and the probability of using these techniques, advanced techniques, is that your project proposal will be selected. So, okay, then interdependence. Sometimes what happens, we cannot identify, you are not able to identify this is the dependent variable and this is the independent variable. We cannot identify like that. Both are interconnected. Then what you have to do? You have to use interdependence analysis, like you can use cluster analysis, factor analysis. Okay, so you can use structural equation modeling. structural equation modeling. So like that, either way, when it comes to multivariate analysis, you can go with dependence analysis method or interdependence method. If are some of the variables dependent on others, if your answer is yes, go with dependence. If some of the variables are not dependent, then go with interdependence analysis. Very simple. And this is also very, very important while you are going with the primary data, particularly primary data, or you are going with the inferential statistics. For the use of inferential statistics, knowing the theoretical distribution is very, very important. Knowing the theoretical distribution is very, very important. So there are 4 largely accepted and largely popularly known distributions. One is normal distribution, another one is ZRT distribution, F distribution, and chi-square distribution. Normal distribution is normal distribution. That's why you are not using normal distribution for any of the analysis. So it is only a mother. From this normal distribution, we draw 3 more distributions, namely Z, F, and chi-square distribution. ZRT distributions, it's a parametric distribution, and we use it mean test. 1 sample mean test, 2 sample mean test, paired sample t-test, correlation coefficient mean test, regression coefficient mean test. So these are the 5 important tests. ZRT distribution, parametric distribution, we use it for 5 important types of tests. 1 sample t-test, 2 sample t-test, paired sample t-test, correlation coefficient t-test, and regression coefficient t-test. So this is the use of t-distribution for test of these things. The second one is F distribution. It is also parametric and it is used for variance test. So variance, 2 sample variance test are comparison of more than 2 groups of means and then overall significance of independent variables used in multiple regression analysis. So these are the 3 important tests. One is 2 variable variance test, mean comparison of more than 3 groups. 3 groups means, for example, so newly born babies in Mysuru district, newly born babies in Koppal district, newly born babies in Chamarajanagar district. Whether the mean weight of these newly born babies are the same or not, equal or not. So we have 3 groups, Koppal, Mysuru, Chamarajanagar. So in Koppal we have 50 babies, in Mysuru we have 40 babies, in Chamarajanagar we have 30 babies. You make the comparison of mean weight of these babies. So for that, it is called ANOVA, analysis of variance. Analysis of variance. Mean test based on the variance. Mean test based on the variance. The last distribution is chi-square distribution, and this is non-parametric, as I already mentioned, goodness of fit and then association. Goodness of fit, chi-square test, chi-square association test to identify the dependency of nominal variables. The dependency of nominal variables. Whether the opinion is associating with the gender, like that. Okay, sample size is also very, very important thing while writing your research project. So, how much of samples that you are using for your study? Some people always says, I take 50 samples, I take 100, I take 1,000. What is the support that you are giving for that 1,000, 100, 200, 50 or 10, 30? Is there any support? The sample size needs to be decided based on the formula and other important criteria. The first and foremost thing is you have to use the formula method to determine the sample size. ಇದನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬೋದು. ಹಾ. Okay, you have to follow this formula. There are two important parts in this formula. One is confidence, another one is the probability of committing errors. The numerator is the confidence and the denominator is the error. E square is the denominator. Numerator squared z value and the probability of P, that is population, expected population proportion. So if you divide the confidence by the error, you will get the sample size. Meaning you have a confidence in your sample size to explain whatever the subjects or issues you have taken. If you make any argument or decision by using that sample size, it is acceptable because you have taken this sample in such a way that there is 95% confidence in your sample size. So I have mentioned that there is 95% of confidence that will be given by your data only. So therefore, using that magnitude of data, there is no possibility of committing errors. So this should be the fundamental reason for sample size. Please use always this formula to determine the sample size. And keep in mind, while disaggregate the population or the sample, that is strata, the minimum size should not be less than 30. The minimum size, for example, male and female, male should not be less than 30 and female should not be less than 30. If you are taking two districts, Mysore Koppal, the sample, last sample size should not be less than 30. So this is the criteria for determination of sample size. Next, I talk about the sampling. So after the break, we'll come to this sampling. Thank you.
Dear participants, in order to maintain the time lapse in the morning session, you please join the link exactly at 11:45. Okay, you can take just 15 minutes break for session is coming.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
We need your cooperation. Okay, 11:45, please join.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
But,
Convert ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು
ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬನ್ನಿ.